Draft fans, ATF family, to All Things Football, we have another mock draft here for the Chicago Bears.
Go Bears!
Super excited to do this draft here with you. A lot of offseason buzz has been happening here with the Bears. Chase, how you feeling?
Yeah, this is a big offseason for the Bears, right? They're a team that's needs to be on the up and up, right? They've been on the down and down for a while. They've botched a few too many draft picks. They made some goofy moves, paid some goofy players. They finally got a general manager that seems like he knows what he's doing. They've got a head coach in there that got the team excited. Got a quarterback that looks promising. So new feelings for Bears fans.
Yeah, so it's definitely they're definitely just missing some core components there to kind of get the most out of Justin Fields. Obviously, they've made a lot of moves. Obviously, getting DJ Moore in that trade. Sorry, the name escaped me for a second. So definitely trying to put pieces around him to be successful. Obviously, trading back from the number one pick here to pick number 9. Definitely making the most of their situation to try to put Justin Fields in a position to succeed. So excited to dive in here, but let's go ahead, Chase, give us a pre-draft preview here real quick of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, so the Chicago Bears, even though they lost players, it was hard to find a player that moved the needle for their teams. I decided, David Montgomery, he was their starting running back, losing him, kind of a blow. Then also tackle Riley Reiff. That offensive line is hurt as it is, right? Kind of has Justin Fields running for his life sometimes. So that's kind of a big blow to them. But they did do a lot. They had a lot of money and they used it this free agency. Like we already talked about, they traded for DJ Moore in that trade from 1 to 9. They also signed Nate Davis to come in and play guard. Signed 2 middle linebackers the same day, signed TJ Edwards and then Tremaine Edmonds. So they got a middle linebacker core of Edwards and Edmonds. Then they grabbed Robert Tonyan to come in and be their backup tight end and Dante Foreman from the Panthers to be their running back. So they could probably have a running back by committee with Khalil Herbert. But the Bears had the money. They used it. It's important to realize that this isn't the offseason or the draft class that they are going to rocket into, contending level. This is just a big one to get that rebuild going the right direction. Right. This is step 1 of the rebuild.
Absolutely. And I think, how they're going to be able to utilize free agency and the draft is going to be obviously a huge part of that, right? We talk about free agency, getting players to, kind of fill in some key areas of need for the time being, and then to draft the players that are going to be the solution moving forward. All right. And so they've done what they can do in free agency, one of the best free agencies of the league so far. I think very, very solid free agency. And now they're going to have to pair that up with an excellent draft here. And so definitely got some opportunities here. But based on those additions and subtractions, what do you think are the main areas of concern or need here for the draft?
Yeah, I think it might be easier to tell you what you don't need on the Bears. Their team, they had the number 1 pick for a reason. I know that there was a fluke game with Houston, but they still weren't very good. But I think their main concerns is probably offensive line, wide receiver, right? They got to protect Justin Fields and they got to get some help for him. They tried to do it. They did do it in DJ Moore. He's a quality wide receiver, but having another wide receiver to place maybe Mooney or Claypool who are just average wouldn't hurt. Also, looking at their draft needs, number 2, I'm looking at cornerback or edge, right? Get that defense up to par. And finally at 3, I'm thinking inside offensive line, inside defensive line, or maybe even a running back.
Yeah, I think definitely both sides of the ball, the offense and defensive line, I think would probably be the biggest area of concern. Obviously, protecting Justin Fields, he was running for his life. Luckily, he's able to run for his life and make things happen when he does that. But definitely being able to have him be more comfortable in the pocket is going to be important. And obviously, defensive line as well. Got to get after the quarterback and got to put pressure on them. The defense, the Bears' defense really hasn't been the same since that Khalil Mack trade. They've lost a lot of players there, to other teams, and so definitely try to get them back, especially with the defensive coach, right? Matt Eberflus is a defensive coach, so to try to get the Bears defense right. When we think of the Bears, we don't think of offense, we think of defense, right? And so obviously, it's subject to change. You don't have to be in that mold for forever, but I definitely miss kind of seeing the Bears be very good on defense. So let's see what they can do here. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get on in. We're going to go ahead and start here. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look here. What we've got so far, we got Bryce Young, Stroud, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, Devin Witherspoon, Peter Skoronski, Tristan Gonzalez, and Anthony Richardson. So now we've got pretty much our choice here. A lot of different things, right? So we can go our choice here at tackle. We can go our choice here at edge rusher. I think based on how the board's shaping up, a tackle started to go early in Peter Skoronski. The Lions, for some odd reason, in this mock went Skoronski here. So I think getting a good bookend left tackle here, their number one guy, I think is going to be super important here. Obviously, very high on Paris Johnson Jr. He's my offensive tackle number one. So in this case, for me, when I see this here, it's kind of a no-brainer. Get that offensive piece to shore up the offensive line for Fields.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. When I seen that Skoronski went, I was a little nervous, thought maybe Paris went a little higher. He didn't. The fact that he falls to us, we don't have to bite the bullet. Skoronski's going to be a very good player, but again, he's going to be, a lot of the pros are saying he's going to play guard. That's really not where we need right now. We just signed, the Bears just signed Nate Davis. I know there's 2 guards, but they need some tackles, right? Keep those big boys on the edge from getting to Fields. So to grab Paris Johnson, here would be sweet.
I like it. So here we go. I will go ahead and go to our first pick here, round number 2, pick 53. We went ahead and addressed the offensive line. Right, I think the other concern here is the defensive line. Chase, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. The deep edge class, you could probably get a quality edge player here to get the quarterback. They really haven't. They didn't have those. They traded Mack, and then halfway through the season, they traded not Roquan Smith. They did trade Roquan Smith, but the edge they traded to Philly. Robert Quinn. They traded him halfway through the season. He was their sack leader, so they really have no one there rushing the passer right now, and that's pretty important in this day and age of football.
Yeah. So another guy here I really like, just pulling this up here, is B.J. Ojulari here out of LSU. I think had a pretty honestly quiet season, but whenever you're looking at it here, I think it was a pretty good caliber level of a season, right? When you look at the amount of sacks and hurries that he was able to do, especially looking at his pass rush win rate, phenomenal at almost 20%. So somebody I think that could be a really, really solid player here, and I think would be good value here at early in round number 2.
Yeah, I've seen him. We've mocked him a couple times in the first. I've seen him mocked in the first. I think he's a very good player, and that would be a very good addition to Matt Eberflus's defense.
Cool, I like it. We'll go ahead and take it there. It seems like we're pretty there in agreement. We've got the offensive line down. We've got the defensive line down here. And so now we can kind of take a look at a couple other positions of need, right? As we've noted, it is pretty large. We can take a look here, maybe look at defensive back here, maybe look at some wide receiver options. I don't think their wide receiver options is as poor as maybe you do. Kind of coming off it there, looks like, obviously I'm not a big Chase Cable guy, but I do like Darnell Mooney a lot. He obviously was injured, so wasn't able to, finish out the season. But I think obviously having, DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney on there, it leaves room for them to not reach for a wide receiver and maybe take another area of need before that.
Yeah, and another thing to think, I think their wide receivers could use some help, but they also did spend quality. They spent the 32nd pick bringing Chase Claypool over from the Steelers halfway through the season. So maybe that they don't value drafting another wide receiver, seeming as they use that pick on Claypool. So I could see maybe going defensive back, right? So, there's Triple Stevenson. I like him a lot from Miami. Kind of reminds me of a round 2 Joey Porter, I would say. Very hands-on, physical.
Yeah, I think it's a good look here at the end of round 2 here for double second round pick. Add a quality player that I think is somebody that could be definitely very beneficial for Matt Eberflus in the defense, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting here because I'm so used to thinking of that division with Aaron Rodgers in there, and that's where I always gear towards. Obviously, with him leaving or not playing, right? I think it's pretty much safe to say at this point, even if he remains a Packer for some reason, the Jets trade goes through, that he's not going to see the field.
No, it's going to be Jordan Love.
Which
And
it's just so crazy to think about. So in mine, I'm thinking like, oh, we got to go up against Aaron Rodgers. But now, that's not the case. Like, who do they have there in that division that really scares you at quarterback? And if I'm being honest, it's nobody. However, it's not just the division you have to worry about, right? There are good quality quarterbacks in the NFC that they have to go through. And obviously, if they're able, against the AFC teams they have to play as well. Pretty much any AFC team you go up against, you're going to get one of the top quarterbacks in the league. So
correct, yeah.
So to get a guy like Tyreek Stevenson, like you said, that could be the Joey Porter type player here in the late round 2, basically a round 3 pick here, I think would be a very, very quality pick.
Yeah, and you do have some quality, maybe not quarter, actually you have quality wide receivers that the Bears will have to face. Jefferson twice a year, Christian Watson twice a year, Amon-Ra twice a year. So having a guy that could, kind of help, maybe slow them down. Don't know if you could stop Jefferson or Christian Watson yet, but, maybe slow them down. That would be very, very beneficial to this Bears team.
I agree. You make a solid point there. So I think Stevenson here has got to be the pick.
Yep, I like it. I like it a lot.
And then, boom, right back on the clock, right? Pick number 3, or round number 3 here, pick number 64. So a lot of different things that can go here. I'm honestly in favor of shoring up the offensive line even more.
I was just going to say that,
with this position. I mean, Luke Wypler, I just see his name still sitting here at the center position. I think is a phenomenal player, and so that he's still available here. I think could be you can call it a steal, even that the fact that one of the top centers in this draft class is still here. We're ranked in the top 50, right? We're picking obviously outside of the 60 now. I see his name here. I immediately I just love that pick.
Yeah, I do too. And even if he doesn't play center for a while, I think that would be a steal. Anytime you can help Justin Fields get the offensive line that was so bad, 2 years ago and then just as bad last season, I think this is a very, very good draft to get that offensive line kind of straightened out. So when you get, use your offense and free agency money in the offensive line, I'm okay with taking Luke Wypler, my number 1 center in this draft. So
let's do it. Finish out our 3-round mock draft here for the Bears coming up here. So I really felt really good about that draft, honestly. So we'll see here. So we've got round 1, 9, Paris Johnson Jr. B, BJ Ojulari, round 2, 53, A+, Tyreek Stevenson, round 2, 61, A+, and then Luke Wypler, A, at round 3, 64 with the overall draft grade of A. So honestly, I don't know how you can sit there and say that this isn't just an A+ draft. When you're talking about the positions of need and Paris Johnson Jr. is there, even if Skoronski is your offensive tackle number 1, you're going to get offensive tackle number 2 at pick number 9. I don't know. I don't see how that's not, an A+.
An A, but I know.
It is what it is. So, I'm looking at here. Obviously, right off the bat, we address probably the biggest area of concern, right? Offensive tackle. Getting protection for Justin Fields is just of the utmost important. You can be a phenomenal quarterback, but without that protection, it does really matter. Obviously, I just have flashbacks of Mahomes in the Super Bowl against the Bucs, where his offensive line was just decimated. He's out there trying to make these plays, and in the end, obviously, just wasn't good enough because the offensive line was just shredded. It was just horrible. Got to have the offensive line intact. So you're shoring up the defense side, right? We went edge and then corner. Great value in both of those picks, and obviously with Luke Wypler there at center, one of the best centers in this draft, I think, is just a solid pick there around number 3.
Yeah, I couldn't say more myself. I think Paris Johnson is one of the best players in this draft. Maybe a little raw coming out of Ohio State, but definitely the strength, speed, and a size that you need to play tackle in the NFL. You've got 2 studs on that defensive side with Stevenson being there late in the second, and then BJ Ojulari falling early in the second. Then Luke Wypler, we've mentioned that 2 or 3 times. That is the steal of round 3 if he's still there. Well, it's the first pick of round 3, but man, I would be surprised if he makes it out of the second round. So that we're able to get him in the 3rd is just phenomenal at all.
Listen, this is the step in the rebuild, right? Getting important positions, right? Some of the most important positions on the NFL team at long-term deals, right? To be starting caliber players here moving forward. So I think we did that here in this draft, and we've set the Bears up for success as they go throughout this rebuild to try to get back to some sort of place of relevancy. obviously within that division and within the NFL. So super excited here to see what happens come draft time, see what other moves are going to make. Bears fans, let us know here in the comments what you thought there of the draft. I mean, I'd be shocked if you disagree too much, but let us know. You're there within the Bears. We did our best to get you guys better. Let us know there, your thoughts. Look forward to providing you more draft content. Check out next week. Make sure you subscribe, like, and so that you get our final mock draft as we head into draft week, as the NFL draft is finally here next week.
Finally.
So we'll have our official, our last mock draft coming out, and that one's going to be exciting. It's going to blow a lot of minds with what we have cooking up here with our final draft here. A lot of different things we're super excited about. So appreciate the love so far. We'll catch you next time here on All Things Football.
All Things Football.